Alright guys, so in today's video, as you would have read from the title of the video, we're replacing the shock on my XL250 degree with a replacement shock that I've found off AliExpress. Now, with these XL250 degrees, to replace the shock you've really only got one option, maybe two. I've read that XR250 shocks work, but only by one person. Now this shock here is a replacement shock for an NX250. It's a bike over in America and other countries that was released. In Australia it was never brought in, but it's supposed to fit in, hopefully, and sit about 1 centimetre higher in the rear than the standard shock. The reason I need to replace this shock is it's just worn out and flogged out. The spring's sagging a lot and the dampening is just not there anymore. I was tossing up whether to try and get the shock rebuilt, but I just thought it's not worth it. For this was 200 Australian dollars. So this is the shock itself. You've got the bottom of the shock here. This is actually adjustable, so you can change and set whatever height you'd like on the back for adjustable ride height. Then just above that you've got your dampening screw, so lets you adjust how hard or soft you want the dampening on your bike. And then at the top you've got this ring here, undo a little Allen key or grub screw, and you can tighten the spring rate down or loosen it off depending on what you need to do. And then up the top here, I'm assuming this is for oil drain and oil fill up, so you can service the shock if you'd like to. But for $200, I think this is a pretty good buy, if it works, that is. So we'll go ahead and chuck it in now and see what we're at. So, since last that you've seen on video, the bike is all back together. The shock is in. I've had it in for a while and I've gone for some rides and whatever else, and that shock is 100 times better than the old worn out one that's there. But our only issue we've got with this shock is that because it sits, was it 10 or 15 mil taller than the standard XL250 degree shock, this here, the bottom shock mount, it actually hits on this cross piece when it's bolted in, only just barely, but it does. Now this bottom piece is adjustable, so there is a little nut up on there which I don't know if you can see there. It's, I suppose, a lock nut, but I'm going to see if I remove that and tighten this all the way up onto the shock, I suppose that might bring it up high enough and it might feel secure enough. We might have to put a bit of Loctite on the thread there, but for now I'm just going to drop this whole section out here and wind this mount off and see where we go from there. So now that we've got this suspension stuff off here, we can unscrew this piece, and with this piece removed here, we'll see if taking this little lock ring off will let us screw this in far enough to clear the bottom suspension parts. Alright, so as I thought, I can't screw this all the way up without that lock ring on, as it hits inside the bottom of the shock there. I think it runs into some of the dampening control things, so that won't work. What we'll do, pull this back out, and I think we'll drill a hole, I don't know, 10 mil higher or something like that, and that should definitely help clear it all then. So as you can see, got those holes drilled about 10 mil higher, so we'll just go ahead and throw this back on and see how we stand. The new holes will work at the top, so I'm just going to have to cut these bottom ones off as it hangs down too low and it's going to foul on some of those suspension components. So we'll just lop that off there. As you can see, that fits on there now and clears everything. It's very close, but it it clears and works. I probably cut a little bit too much off the bottom there, but we'll put this on and see how it goes. So I've got the suspension all put back in. I haven't bolted it all down yet, but as we can see here, this bolt here on the shock has now got clearance from this little bit on the suspension there, and on the other side it's the same with the nut and thread. So we're in business. We're going to assemble this and chuck it all back on the ground. So with this new shock in and everything on the ground, I'll just show you the difference between the original shock, how worn and flogged out that was, to this new one. Now, because this one has adjustable dampening, I think I've got it set around halfway, so I think there's probably 26 clicks of adjustable dampening on this shock. And yeah, I've got it somewhere in the middle, and it seems to be pretty right for the weight of the bike and for me and everything like that. And the spring rate, I've got that set all the way up. It's as soft as it can be, because I think the spring's fairly heavy duty for the weight of this bike and me anyway. So I don't know if it's obvious that this shock is heaps better, but just pushing it down and feeling it, there is a lot more dampening on this shock, whereas the other one just had none. It just came straight back up, and yeah, this feels a lot better to push down and bring back up by hand, and riding it, it is heaps better, 100 times better than the old shock. So for $200, I think that this rear shock replacement was an absolute win. So I think that's going to be all for today's video, guys. Today you saw me replace the rear shock and fix the dampening on my motorbike. So that was replaced with an AliExpress special shock. It was only $200 delivered, which is pretty good. I was a bit skeptical as to how well the shock would work, but seems to be pretty good. Really, since the start of this video and when it's been on to when I'm finishing it up now, I've probably had it on for a month. I haven't ridden it heaps in that month, but shock still works, still does its thing. I'll probably update you guys like 12 months down the track or something like that to see if it's still going. But if you want one, and if you want to put it on an XL250 degree, this video is hopefully showing you how to do it. And yeah, I'll leave the link to that in the description. So thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned till next time.